Hello again. This is our special edition episode, coming right off of our 50th episode of our podcast. And this one is just going to be a straight up all in discussion between me and CJ, so hopefully you guys enjoy.
Hello, Audio Marks, coming to you from the Sage Home Public Library. Welcome to the Marks for Life podcast with your hosts, Jimmy, CJ, Joe, and Jared. Woo! The four horsemen of podcasting. Four casual trend marks wrestling fans who give you a direct line to all things in the squared circle. Enter the ring at your own risk. We pull no punches, we hit hard, and we will slam you all the info you need to know. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Let's hit it!
And we're back.
We're not back. Welcome to this week's edition of Marks for Life podcast. We are not on a commercial break. We are coming at you pre-recorded. I am CJ.
And I am Jimmy. No champ again. I believe the champ was on
The champ was on this previous week's episode.
Well, he was... Well,
the previous episode.
How this is going to work, I'm probably going to edit this part out anyway, because I have to edit everything around, and it's going to be one episode coming out this week.
Oh, okay. Then you might have to edit out some parts. I'm saying, hey, check out our other episode on All In.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna have plenty of time to edit that part out. And now we say, welcome back.
Oh, welcome back.
So All In happened this past weekend. What did you think?
So I've been talking about this a lot. I talked a little bit about it with Joe. I talked a lot about it at work. I think that All In was phenomenal, and I think it was a necessary shot in the arm. It was fantastic. It hit all the right chords, and I just loved it.
I agree. It was first indie show I actually bought for pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
And one I do not regret paying for. That was phenomenal.
Yes.
It was a little interesting towards like the beginning of some of the cards, and there were some matches I felt that kind of dragged on a little bit, and it kind of impacted how everything else went. But I think we'll get into that when we really dive into how the card was breaking down. So why don't we actually just go right into that?
All right. So we got Matt Cross versus TGI Fridays. What was his name? I don't even know.
I believe it was MJF.
I was close. I was close.
He was an indie guy. Good wrestler. I thought he was good. This was actually on the actual card. We actually missed the pre-show part that was on WGN when we watched it.
We were having technical difficulties, folks, because we were trying to figure out how the fuck to put this on a TV that, we couldn't get Fight TV on the Fire Stick. We couldn't get Fight TV on like a Samsung Smart TV. So we actually had to go to the internet on the TV. Shout out to Kyle for lending us his home.
Our friend Kyle, who lets drink in his house, which was awesome.
Yeah. But that's what happened. We had to actually type in fighttv.com.
On an actual browser, not like through an app or anything like that.
Yeah. And then screw all you people that came in late because you were screwing up our feed.
And it didn't stop until like I think the Cody Rhodes match, which is what happened.
No, it started slowing down by the Christopher Daniels match.
Yeah. Okay.
Like second half of the Christopher Daniels Stephen Amell match.
Yeah, and then it didn't have any problems after. Well, no, because then there was problems with the Cody Rhodes and Aldis match, too.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah, there was.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah, we had to stop with the intro and stuff like that. Remember that?
I don't remember that. I might have been getting a drink.
The women's match was right after Amell and Daniels because there was problems with that, too. Because we had a problem when, what was it? When Blanchard came out and it was for her intro, and we had to pause it and then restart it. And, like, people were wondering, who is she hugging? That was her father, by the way.
Oh, I don't know. I knew it was definitely Amell and
yeah, there was definitely problems
and
with
Daniels, but after that, maybe I was just tipsy and I didn't really notice much.
You did have a lot to drink.
Well, whose fault was that?
It was mine.
Yeah. So shut the fuck up.
Anyway, so we missed the free part.
We missed a battle royal,
which was pretty. From what I heard, was pretty good.
Yeah, Flip Gordon came out as like an El Generico bullshitter, and Bully Ray got eliminated.
Yeah, and then what was it? The tag team match between SoCal Uncensored and the Briscoes was really good too. I heard.
Yeah.
SoCal Uncensored won on that one.
Yes.
And then we get right into actually All In when we started watching it for the Matt Cross and MJF match.
Yes.
It wasn't bad.
It was an opener.
It was like an opener. That's like what you expect of. Personally, that should have been on the pre-show match if they were going to do that.
I think personally they should have had the Briscoes versus SoCal Uncensored on the main card.
Yeah, I think so too.
That
was very good.
Yeah.
But it was still a good match. That one dragged on. I think that was one of the matches I felt that dragged on longer than it needed to.
I didn't pay much attention. I was still trying to figure out how the hell to make it work.
Of course.
So,
Then after that, I believe, was the Amel Daniels match.
Yes, that was much
great.
better than expected.
Much better than expected.
Stephen Amell went through a table.
He got slapped the fuck. Oh my god! Did you see his Instagram picture after that?
No, but all I was.
He got red marks all over his chest. He looked like he just went through a slapping contest with fucking Matt Riddle. That's how bad his chest looked.
Stephen Amell is like a Shane McMahon type of character. You know, he loves the business, appreciates it, and is willing to pull out the stops. He did a freaking coast to coast.
And a pretty good one. Like, it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Like, this is a freaking celebrity. Much better than Arquette. Stephen Amell should be Ring of Honor television champion.
Okay.
Not world champion.
Not yet.
Television champion.
Not yet.
You know, if Arrow ever goes under.
Yeah, if you know, well, probably will. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think that there's at least, you know, a celebrity appearance here and there on a Ring of Honor or PWG.
Yeah.
Yeah, PWG show for Stephen Amell. I would appreciate that. I would like that.
Let's see. Yeah, but Christopher Daniels, I'm surprised he won.
I'm surprised, yeah.
But we shouldn't be because he's the actual wrestler?
Yeah, I know, but you would expect because Stephen Amell is part of Bullet Club that he would have gone over.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, my main mic was down, and I completely forgot about that. But I think my mic, hopefully my voice picked up on your feed on that. So.
I hope so. We've been going for like 10 minutes.
6.
6 minutes.
Hopefully we did. Hopefully. I'm praying.
It was a good match, though. I'm upset he didn't come out in an Arrow, like, Bullet Club hoodie.
Yeah, he came out in an Arrow, like, vest, and he was wearing his Arrow, like, trunks. Yeah. Like, that's his actual trunks from the show. But he didn't come out in, like, the hoodie, and that would have been so fucking sweet. But I don't know. I don't know what the reason for that would have been. Maybe CW was like, no, you can't wear the hood. You can wear the pants, but you can't wear the hood.
I don't know. But good.
It was so good. And then you had Jeremy, what was it? Jeremy Lin was
Jerry Lynn, yeah.
Jerry Lynn. He was the
special guest ref.
And yeah, and he got into Daniel's face a couple times. That was entertaining. I liked it.
Yeah, didn't they have a feud and stuff, like a big feud back in TNA and stuff?
Yeah.
X Division Championship?
Yeah, and that's probably where that got linked to. So that was that match. Then you had, I think, the women's match after that.
Yes, the Four Corners match. We thought it was when they said for like a survival match, I figured they meant elimination.
It was not an elimination, but it was still good.
Yeah, it was Chelsea Green, who's the crazy bitch.
On TNA.
Yeah, which we all were like, holy crap, this bitch is crazy looking, because she got that half wedding bride shit going. You have Madison Rayne. You have Tessa Blanchard.
And you had Dr. Britt Baker.
Yes. Congrats to you for going to dental school.
Congrats.
But Blanchard won, right?
Yes, Blanchard won. Yeah.
Not a bad match.
Yeah, the ending was a little bit botched because you actually didn't tell who won that match until, like, afterwards.
Yeah.
I think that's more of, like where the cameras were pointing at that time, and that's that fault. But other than that, it was still a very good match. I like the fact that Tessa came out with her dad and J.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
That was really
it J.J.
cool.
Dillon? Was it confirmed?
I'm pretty sure it was J.J. Dillon.
Okay.
But it was still really cool.
All right.
And then but yeah, they did a fantastic. It was a good match. It was a good women's match. Like it was pretty good.
Yeah. You know, let's get into the main stuff.
Cody Rhodes. What was it? Cody Rhodes was after that.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis
for the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion.
I called it.
You did, and man,
was I right?
Great match. That was a great match, man.
That was really a good match. Like, oh my god.
Maybe not perfectly in line. Like, there was like that one little schmozzy thing with when Earl Hebner put up the X. Because
no, I think that was all part of it.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I didn't like it. I liked it a little bit, just not as much.
But that's a Dusty thing to do.
I know, but it was too much, and it was a little clunky.
I thought it was fantastic. I loved the wrestling psychology, the story being told.
The story being told in the ring was great. I'm not denying that part. I'm just saying, like, that particular part when he got, hit in the face by Aldis, and then he got knocked out onto the floor, and it looked like he actually got hurt. That part I wasn't a huge fan of.
I liked it. I thought it was great for the story because it really showed the character shift in Nick Aldis. You know, you see his face, and Aldis is just there thinking like, is he down? You know, what do I do? Do I check on him? I don't want to hurt him like that. But then in the back of his mind, he's also thinking at the same time, I need to retain this. I need this belt.
I think... Yeah, okay, I could see your point on that.
Like, it really made it, you know, and like, you know how much more invested people were in Cody, like you know how great that is, like, oh my god, Cody's big night and he's injured? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Cody fighting through is like, this is my night.
Yeah.
Brandy.
Well, before that part, I think we had that pretty sweet, like, Mark moment where, what was it? DDP came out and did a diamond cutter on, what was it, Tim Storm or something like that?
Something like that.
It was so good.
DDP came out to the ring with Cody. Tommy Dreamer came out to the ring with Cody. Glacier.
Yeah, it was Glacier.
Yeah, I looked it up. I'm like,
there's all of
Glacier was fucking there?
There was all those old WCW and like the one ECW guy that Dusty really liked. And then you had all the NWA guys come out with Aldis.
Still mad that Billy Corgan wasn't there.
Yeah, I know. Where the fuck was Billy?
A Smashing Pumpkins tour?
Yeah. He could have made time. We'll talk about... Because someone else who was on a particular tour came on.
We gotta stop doing that whole, oh, wait, we have more things that... we gotta stop doing that.
But then right before the climax of the match, you had that moment with Brandy.
Yes. Brandy actually throwing herself across Cody to protect him from a diving elbow drop from Nick Aldis.
Yeah, I thought that moment was like the real turning point. Like, okay, now I gotta beat the shit out of him because now he hurt my wife. But man, that ending though was, oh my god, it was great.
And the spots were excellent too. They were well placed. You know, it wasn't fast paced.
Yeah, this one out of all the other matches that were on the card was really
driven by story.
Yeah, like similar to WWE. I'm hesitating to compare it to anything WWE related, but it was the closest one out of all of them.
I'm not saying WWE. I'm saying WWF.
Okay, I see.
I'd say WWF, like 80s WWF story, akin to something that Randy Savage would produce.
Okay, I agree with that. That's what that reminds me of. Yep.
Yeah.
But it's
something old school, not something that we'd be used to today.
Agreed.
You know, they did like a well-executed crossbody, diving crossbody. They did a pile driver, you know, but everything was just well-timed. Like the spots.
It felt like I was watching an actual NWA match.
Yeah.
In modern times, it was perfectly done. And my hope for Cody is that he holds onto his belt until the next time they do All In.
I think he should defend it at MSG.
I think he should, but I think that he should hold on to it until the next All In event.
Okay.
At least.
I'm going to bring up a big question for you after we keep going through this.
Yeah, once we get through this, we'll talk about a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, because Joe and we talked about it earlier in the podcast.
And you want my opinion on it? Okay.
I want to bring up the same questions to you as I did to him.
Fair enough. That was like halfway. That was the halfway point of the pay-per-view, correct?
Yes. The next one up was the Chicago Street Fight. Joey Janela versus Hangman Page.
Okay, before we go into this, did I tell you that this one was going to be an interesting match to watch?
Yes, you did.
It was great. I loved this match.
Not gonna lie, it was too brutal for my tastes.
Oh, really?
I couldn't do it.
Was it because of how many really bad spots Joey was in? Because that's what Joey does.
What the fuck is wrong with... That's how this guy's gonna, like...
Yeah, I know.
And in a wheelchair.
I know. You should... I'm gonna tell you this right now. You should find his interview with Austin on his podcast. Because he fully accepts that, yeah, I'm gonna probably kill myself doing it, but I love doing it. And that's what Joey Janela is all about.
I can't appreciate that. I can respect it, but I can't appreciate that.
Okay,
form of art.
Okay, so you'll respect it, but it's a very interesting mindset to really look into, like, a wrestler. Some wrestlers are like that, and Joey Janela is one of them.
Even Mick Foley at a time, Granted, you appreciated some of the stuff he did, but at the same time, you can see, like, you really shouldn't be doing all this shit.
But I mean, yeah.
Like he's a more extreme Mick Foley, and that's not a good thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a more extreme Mick Foley, Terry Funk, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's a CZW wrestler, mainly. He's starting to branch out into, like, I guess, more mainstream indie promotions like Ring of Honor.
Like,
but
I love Mick Foley to death. I respect him. Like, he's done a lot for this business, given a lot to the fans, and that's, like, the big reason why I respect him is because he does a lot fan-wise. He's very, like
fan-oriented. Yeah, fan-oriented, fan-friendly, much more than all the other guys.
Yeah, he like a Chris Jericho type of thing. Just Joey Janela.
Maybe I don't know.
Is he a fucking masochist? Does he enjoy this shit?
I don't know too much about how much he enjoys putting his body on the line. All I can tell you is that he's been through almost worse than what we just witnessed on All In.
Motherfucker took like a backwards pile driver from the top of the ladder into a table.
He also got a burning hammer into a ladder that pronged on the ring
an
barricade.
Actual fucking ladder. What the hell's wrong with this guy?
And then he took what was it? It was a backwards pile driver through
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I'm saying he's been through worse than that.
What the hell's wrong with that?
If you want to get another comparison, you could look at Dean Ambrose's career at CZW. It's pretty similar.
This CZW promotion needs to go under. I'm sorry, but that's dangerous as shit.
That is true.
Like, that's bloodthirsty. Even ECW wasn't.
Oh no, ECW even back then was pretty bad.
Some stuff, but it wasn't consistent. This CCW sounds very consistent in, like, doing shit like that. Am I wrong? Like, all of their matches are like this?
I wouldn't say all, but several memorable matches were pretty much like that. And a lot of them do consist of Joey Janela. One of them being with Leo Rush.
Yeah.
And another one, which I know you probably don't know this, is a guy with another guy who, I can't believe I'm about to say this, they both went over a fucking building into the back of a pickup truck. And Joey Janela, like, dislocated his thumb or something like that, or his finger. It's pretty brutal. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, watching CZW type stuff is, it's hard to watch if you're not into that kind of thing. But I will say this, as a hardcore wrestler, he is pretty good. I enjoyed the match. I know I mainly enjoyed it for, like, the little, like, story spots because of Hangman Page was going through. I enjoyed that a bit more than the actual violence itself. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What did you think of the inline story stuff for Adam?
I couldn't tell the story. I was too busy making sure they didn't die.
Fair enough.
Like, that was a bad car crash,
Yeah, I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was a good match, but fair enough if you didn't enjoy that part. Well, I don't. Go on with your point, and then we'll go into.
Not a huge hardcore guy, in the way like that. Like, I thought I was, but, like, after a while, it's just like you see these guys, you want them around for a while. And Joey Janela's around our age, if I remember correctly, right? 25, 26?
Yeah, he's a bit older than us. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's some dangerous shit.
There is a market for that kind of wrestling. I understand if you're not into it. I'm not partially prone to it, but I can at least...
I appreciate a little hardcore here and there, like, storyline-wise. Like, if it's used correctly. But something like that?
Okay, I see your point.
Yeah.
Okay, but going on to what I think was the best part of that match was afterwards.
That's not even the match. That's just the post-match.
I know, but it's still the best part of that whole story, though.
It was really good.
So let's set up the thing. So Adam Page wins.
Yes.
I can't even say the lights went down. They kind of went to like an Undertaker kind of place.
Not even. You know what they did? Motherfuckers, the lighting turned into like a purplish glow. Now, when we went to Jamaica, there's a setting in Jamaica where if you clicked it, there was like a sexy setting and it turned into like a purple dark light. Motherfucker, it was that same light that fell over the arena. And you know what came out? A bunch of gigolos in freaking penis costumes.
Oh, wait, hold up. When I was listening to other people comment on this match, they started calling them fluids.
Motherfucker.
Oh my god. So yes, the penis druids, or as I will be now calling them, fluids, because
Fucking
it just
flaccid at this point.
just pure Undertaker type druids, but it just penis costumes, and it was so perfect.
And then motherfucker Joey Ryan makes his return from not being dead.
Because in the story, if you guys want to get like a full encapsulate of what the story behind a lot of these matches are, go watch Being the Elite on YouTube.
Pretty much Hangman Page was
accident. I wouldn't say accidentally, but kayfabe killed Joey Ryan.
He was framed for killing Joey Ryan.
And there was like a boot spot where they kind of haunted Joey, and he used a phone cord to choke Joey, but that's the same cord that killed Joey apparently. And on the Titantron, before Joey Ryan shows up, you see his dead body, and then he gets an erect penis. It's just so corny and so bad, and that's the reason why I loved it so much. Oh my god. And then he comes out, and then he confronts Paige, and of course Paige goes for the penis on Joey Ryan, which if you fucking know Joey Ryan, you never do that, because he does the penis plex on him, which is literally the sickest, most disgusting, fucked up thing that any person who at least has some sort of morality would go and look at that and find that's disgusting. But if you're not at least a little entertained by it, then you don't know entertainment, because it was funny as hell.
See, the thing I don't get is something you brought up. Why would you go for the freaking dick? Like,
yeah, I know. Like, that's so stupid.
Like, you know, there's these times in wrestling where
you do a low blow and it makes sense.
Yeah, if you do a low blow, like you go you go and like.
But he misses the low blow and just like cuts it short to grabbing his actual dick.
Yeah, but like I would low blow to set it up, and then it grabs it, and I'm stuck, and I'm like, wait, what the hell? See, it's like people that go to the top rope, like motherfucking I remember a couple people go to the top rope against Randy Orton. They never go to the top rope. I'm like, why are you going to the top rope?
Like, that's just a moniker. Like, you don't low blow Joey Ryan. You don't go to the top rope for Randy Orton. And you don't, go, like, I don't know, what would you say, fatigued around John Cena, because he'll do his, like, lightning punch thing. Or whatever the fuck it's called.
Screw you, that lightning punch was awesome.
No, I'm not making fun of it. I'm pointing out that, like, you don't do that because he'll pull that move out. I'm just pointing that out.
There's just certain things that you just don't, that doesn't make sense in wrestling, and that's one of them.
Did you enjoy it though?
I was laughing for a while until I realized, like, this is what I'm laughing at. Like,
Man, we have really bad taste in wrestling.
You have bad taste in wrestling.
It's so good though. I don't understand why people don't love this though.
Let's bring Jim Cornette into this.
Okay, we're gonna talk about fucking Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette's still fucking stuck in the 1980s in fucking professional wrestling. All right, I don't want to hear fucking
Jim Cornette was loving this pay-per-view up until that part.
I know, but
if you get Jim Cornette to like something,
yeah, because because it makes sense to me that he would love the Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis match, because it's fucking 80s WWF wrestling. That makes sense.
80s WWF wrestling had the best stories, and like, it was, not gonna lie, pretty good wrestling. Like for the storyline and stuff. Now imagine the quality of wrestling that today's talent has with the storylines of the 80s.
That's the whole point of like 80s wrestling. That's the whole point of like indie wrestling. Indie wrestling's not supposed to have those kinds of stories because you can't keep that into continuity. That's what they were kind of trying to do with All In,
which worked.
Well, for certain ones, but not for that match. I mean, it actually did. What am I talking about?
Yeah,
but the reason why people hate it is just dumb to me. Like,
but their storylines on the indies are just so like
You can't.
single like point like tunnel. They're all the fucking same.
I mean,
They are. You can't deny that. They're all like, oh, I won the tournament. I get the belt now. I'm the better man.
I mean, that's indie wrestling. I mean, I don't know
Then
what
give
else to
it
tell
some
you.
storylines. Make it interesting.
I mean, how much more interesting can it explain to me how can you make it more interesting? And like, I can understand because as soon as you start putting into that WWE logic into making story, because even New Japan doesn't do that. It's always they win this wrestling match or they win this tournament, and then that's the story, and the story gets built into the match, and that's what happens. And that's all indie wrestling. WWE does it in a different way, where it's televised and streamed and continued through social media every single week. It's completely different.
Then I'm gonna be honest here. Bullet Club took a 1980s WWF approach, and it was freaking awesome.
For some parts of it, yeah. Because there are some parts towards like the end that it dived into their old habits of, you know.
They did YouTube feud, Twitter feud. They've been popping up at random promotions challenging the other guy. It was old school storytelling, but it was also like old school and like, oh, this guy, he framed me. You know, this guy, he tried to screw my life. Grudge match. You know, you can easily make arguments like, this person stole my girl.
I think we can't live in that time, in like that kind of time
What do you
anymore.
mean? If someone stole my girl, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Yeah, but it's not real though. Like, it's
What do you mean it's not real?
Everyone knows it's not real anymore. There's social media out there. They're still going to be together outside of that. You're going to tell me that they're going to continue that outside of
Unless
a wrestling thing?
That's
No.
why you make it smart. You get a couple of single people and you have them actually do that. You have them do the kayfabe. And that was another problem some people had with this show. Was that, well, just in general, people that play monster heels act as the baby face around their fans and stuff. It's like, oh, thank you for coming. You know, you're so sweet. Yo, if I'm a bad guy, I'm going to tell the little kid, screw you, go away.
I don't think that...
I'm going to ruin that moment.
That doesn't exist anymore. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't exist.
If people stay true to their character...
I don't think... That just doesn't exist anymore, though. Not everyone can stay true to their character. Not everyone can Matt Hardy it. And even Matt Hardy has a hard time doing that.
Matt Hardy did it pretty well for a long time.
He did a good job, but then, like, as soon as he dove into, like, more of his character, he became a face again. And then everyone started liking him, even though he was a better heel.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, you're trying to program the 80s part that everyone does love but can't exist anymore because no one knows if it's real or not. Everyone knows that it's fake.
Not really. I'm being honest here. You could blur the lines between reality and not reality. WWE's been doing it for years, but
yeah,
the storylines...
it's shittily. Give you a perfect example was Rusev, Ziggler, Lana, and Summer Rae.
How about Summer of Punk?
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that didn't turn out that well anyway, so...
It still turned out in a historic WWE title run. How about the Brock Lesnar thing? At first, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
For like 3 months until the person that we wanted to have the title match, which was Braun Strowman, didn't fucking get the belt. And then after that, it sucked.
No, I get that. I'm just saying. WWE has a tendency to get the storyline right and then screw it up.
Yeah, because there's a weekly television to do that. On Being the Elite, it's just Bullet Club guys. Like,
Bullet Club needs to be their own promotion.
Okay.
Case in point, the best match on the card, let's get into it now. Kenny Omega and Pentagon Jr.
Okay.
Easily the best match on the card. Easily.
We'll debate that. It's a very good match. I'm not denying that because we were both marking out and loving it.
Yeah.
What was it? Kenny and Pentagon had no real feud going on.
Imagine if they had a feud.
Okay, imagine, let's say they did. But that's not what happened. They didn't have a feud. They had a fantastic match. It was very indie style up until the very end of the match where Kenny wins, which, hold on, let's put this into perspective because they did like, what, 5 to 8 finishers on each other before? I know Kenny tried to at least 7 different times.
Yeah, I don't consider the V-trigger a finisher. I consider it a signature, like a Superman punch.
Okay, fair enough.
Pentagon Jr.'s package pile driver, he hit once, but he kicked out. And then he was going to hit it again, but he got out, and then he hit the one-winged angel. That's
with the opposite arm because before that, Pentagon broke his arm.
Which is, again, That's wrestling psychology at its finest. You know, that's old school wrestling psychology. That's what I'm saying. The old school had it good with wrestling psychology and wrestling storylines. The wrestling itself is not on par to the wrestling today. And I feel like with the platforms they have and this wrestling savviness that the Bullet Club has, they could produce something like that. Because look what happened afterwards. We got a surprise return.
So the lights blacked out at the end of the match.
Yes.
We all thought it was either going to be CM Punk or Neville. Let's be clear on that.
Yes.
Lights go back on.
Pentagon's still in the ring.
Or
with Kenny Omega.
who we thought was Pentagon.
And then Pentagon does a code breaker. We're like, Pentagon, we thought you died. What the hell?
And when he stood up straight, he didn't really look like Pentagon. He looked a little different.
Yeah, we started noticing some stuff, like some weird tattoos and stuff. He took off the mask, and we're like, holy shit.
It's Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho came back. Biggest news story to come out of All In. And he's like, see you on the cruise. Promoting storylines.
And also promoting his cruise.
Exactly. But look at that. Look how streamlined that could be.
I'm not denying that it is. I'm not denying that happens. What I'm saying is, like, if we're going back to the Joey Ryan thing, that did have a story. And to me, it was good. I don't understand why someone like Jim Cornette fucking hated it.
No, Jim Cornette hated the penis part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why he hated that part. Because that was in story. That had a whole story throughout all of being the elites.
Including the walking penises had a segment on the being the elite. Bro, dude, that's reaching. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but that's... Really? Walking flacids or whatever the fuck they're called?
Oh, come on. Like I said, never mind, forget it. Whatever. All I'm saying is I think Jim Cornette talking about the penis and how bad that part was is absolutely ridiculous. Of course it's not going to exist. It's fucking wrestling. We all know it's fake. We all know it's scripted. We all know it's sensationalized spectacle that we all enjoy, and we just try to enjoy the ride on it.
Yeah.
And you enjoyed it for a good time, didn't you?
I was laughing because of how ridiculous it was.
Exactly. That's the whole point of that part. It's not supposed to be taken as a serious point.
I'm not taking it seriously. You know, what I'm saying...
But Jim Cornette fucking is, and that's the problem with that.
I thought we were supposed to be bringing up what other people thought of it. I thought that's what you wanted at the very beginning of the podcast.
No, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, for Jim Cornette's part of that, I don't agree.
I'm saying, though, that the fact that Jim Cornette liked most of it except for that part means that they're doing something right.
Well, no, I'm not saying that they did anything wrong. I think there's something confusing going on because I was just focusing on the whole penis part that Jim Cornette had
I'm
wrong.
focusing on it as a whole.
No, because I even told you at the beginning of this podcast that everything was great. There was some minor inconsistencies only because of the match length. Because I think that actually did, looking back at it sober, they went off pretty long. And it affected the co-main event, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But
I'm talking more as if... I guess I'm getting ahead of myself of what this is. I'm getting ahead of myself then. Because these are topics that we could save for afterwards. Because this is like something that I've been like mulling over for like the past week.
Okay, fair enough. But let's redirect back and try to get into and then we'll talk about all the criticism and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. So we got Okada versus Skrull. And
I looked back at this match and I think we underestimated how excellent this match was. The reason why this one's the problem match is because it went way longer than it was supposed to, but it was also affected by every other match that preceded it. Every match went slightly longer, which did affect this match in particular. And to be fair, this is not Skrull's fault. I am 100% belief that that's not Skrull's fault. I do believe it was Okada's fault that it went longer than it was supposed to.
Really?
Yeah, because I think Okada was supposed to be the main event. I think he was originally supposed to be the main event.
What, against Kenny, you think?
Against whoever, but I really do believe it was supposed to. But then the Bucks and Cody said, no, you're going to take the co-main event. And then they went longer than supposed to.
Well, imagine that storyline. Imagine Okada coming out and be like, hey, I was promised the main event. I was this IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
I know, which is why...
And then you go after Cody.
Yeah, I know, which is why I think that's what's going to happen when we talk about at the end of what that implies and everything.
Okay.
Story and not.
Yes.
But this match, I had to look back at this match because a lot of people were saying this was the match of the night. And I looked back at it, and it was really good. There was points in that match that Skrull could have won, and that would have completely shattered the weight class system that they have at New Japan. This match was way better than I thought. I think I'll give you, it didn't pick up in similar to the Kenny and Pentagon where it didn't really pick up that quickly.
Maybe
until
I'm just not a fan of Okada and Skrull like that, because this is the first time I watched Skrull. And
yeah, I think you're not a Skrull fan. That's why.
I'm not a Skrull fan.
I think you should give Marty another chance because
I'm
he's
not saying
really
I
good.
wouldn't, but like, what's his style? Like British Strong style?
Yeah, I think.
But I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I know. It's not like Pete Dunne strong style. It's more like a mix between like Daniel Bryan's technical wrestling and then like that sneaky like Miz style of wrestling, but like a better wrestler. And then he does like the thing instead of like how Pete Dunne would usually bite someone's fingers, he actually breaks them.
I saw that, yeah.
So like when Okada does the 205 because he's mocking
Yeah.
the light heavyweights, he grabs his fingers and then snaps them. And then does Okada's, Rainmaker finisher?
Yeah.
And that was the point where it's like, oh shit, he could have won that
I thought the
match.
psychology was good. I just don't think...
Yeah.
I think it could have been better placed on the card. And I know we were talking about this before. That MGT whatever match with Matt Cross...
It was MJF.
Whatever.
I believe. But yeah, that
should
match...
not have been on All In at all, in my opinion. I feel like that could have been served as an opener between Okada and Skrull.
Yeah, like that should have been like a lulling match between what we saw between Omega and Pentagon and Okada and Skrull. Like to really low it down,
Yeah.
to really build it up.
I feel like you could have swapped it a couple of times and stuff. Got a better reaction.
And that's fair. And that also affected the main event,
Let's get into the main event. The main event I couldn't keep track of.
Exactly. And a lot of that had to do with how the matches on All In dragged on a lot longer.
Yeah.
Because originally they were supposed to go almost 30 minutes, and they cut it down to like 12. And imagine if that went 30 minutes, they would have gotten more in, better paced, and it would have been better.
Yeah.
And they had to cut it in time. They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
All six of these people, it was Rey Mysterio Jr.,
Phoenix, Bandito versus the Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi,
who were called the Golden Elite, which is
Yes.
a great name. And they did it. It was fun. Rey Mysterio came out as Wolverine, which looked fantastic.
He took a picture with Brian Cage.
Fucking
Backstage.
God, I love Brian Cage. He's so fucking great. Oh, we also forgot, before we actually get into the main event, we forgot about the Ring of Honor Championship match, which was also another really good match. I mean, it was a good match. It was like a good match.
That match made me
Was
realize
it-
I'm not a Jay Lethal fan.
How can you hate Black Machismo?
Okay, the entrance was awesome.
Do you know who he came out with?
He came out with who? Black Machismo. Oh,
that was Lenny Poffo. That was
yes.
that was Randy Savage's brother.
Yes, I remember that now.
I didn't realize that until like I was listening to other people. It was like, oh my god, that's Lenny Poffo. And was it Flip Gordon who won the over the budget battle royal? Came out to Brandy, who had a costume change.
Yeah.
And then they did such a Randy Savage thing where was it Jay Lethal pretended that Brandy was Elizabeth.
That was pretty cool.
And that was just funny. Like moments like that is like really special. Like you got to give it to Jay Lethal. He really makes that character alive, and that's great.
Yeah. I feel like he should incorporate the Black Machismo character into the Jay Lethal character again. I feel like that would be better for him.
Yeah, considering that he's not really a heel anymore, yeah, it'd probably be a good idea to do that. But, I mean...
Unless TNA owns the rights to that gimmick.
Maybe, but they got the blessing to do it on All In, so...
Yeah. Well, they were getting Impact stars anyways. Impact, kind of needed All In. Which, let's go into it now. With this whole thing. All In proved, first off, my opinion, that Bullet Club is the core of indie wrestling.
Yes, I 100% agree with you.
Okay. So, with the Bullet Club uniting the indie scene, I feel like...
Quote unquote uniting. But go on.
Well, let's...
Because it's not a perfect unification. I mean,
let's call it Rome.
Okay, fair
All
enough.
roads lead to Rome.
Okay.
All indie wrestling leads to the
Bullet Club. Yeah, I like that statement.
Yes. Right. Now, we were getting into it before, and I wanted to bring this... Bullet Club has a huge understanding of wrestling psychology.
Yeah, okay, I'll agree with you on
They really do understand wrestling psychology.
that. I think they understand wrestling psychology in the here and now.
Yes.
And because of Cody, I think they kind of brought back some of the old school stuff that would help them
Amplify it, which you could appreciate.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but that's what wrestling needs. It can't just forget its history.
No.
It has to look back and evolve. It has to keep the elements of what made it good and continue to add what could make it work now. And that's what they did. They added in the social media. They added in the somewhat more realistic storylines. You know, they added in you know, they acknowledge other companies, which is something WWE never did.
No.
You know, they're like, yeah, this guy's from here and stuff. You know, it's like Bullet Club All In was like the quintessential of indie wrestling.
Yeah, don't make any other kind of assumption about it. All In was an indie show. It wasn't a WrestleMania. It wasn't a Royal Rumble. It wasn't, Hell in a Cell. It's not like that. It's an indie show on a much bigger scale. And to be honest, I think more indie shows should... I think if they have the structure to do it, so something like Ring of Honor or New Japan should be doing more shows in the U.S. that could fill possibly 10,000, roughly.
I think that Bullet Club should use All In and continue to create All In shows. Because Matt Jackson was talking about an All In too. I think this should lead into an All In promotion.
Okay.
Like an All In style show / promotion where they tour and they invite wrestlers from different companies.
Yeah, because I think this kind of brings back to the days where the wrestlers had the power to put on promotions and stuff like that. I mean, that was like the 80s and the 70s and 60s when they kind of had those territories. And
which I think that's another thing that I'm going to bring up Jim Cornette. I think that he appreciated that. The fact that it was old school like that, like where you didn't just see a Ring of Honor guys or New Japan guys. You saw a conglomerate.
Yeah, you're right.
And it was like this show was such an old school WWF show, old school territory show, where they just
it felt like WCW when they brought in like the ECW guys for a little bit to create the cruiserweights for a little while, where it was actually good for a little bit before they ruined that. Or like they brought some of like the AAA guys in from Mexico.
I think even earlier, just the shows in general. Back again in the territories, you were bringing up the 70s and the early 80s, where NWA would be like, "Hey, can we take some of your guys,
and we'll give you some of these guys?" Yeah, and that did feel like that. It felt like we were living in like that kind of time, but
and they use storylines which are more prevalent, but they focus on the storylines. You bring up the Joey Ryan thing. Granted, I'm not as huge of a fan of that as you are. But, the storyline was there. The storyline was heavily promoted.
And if you bought tickets to All In for the show, then you most likely knew about it. For most people that bought All In, they knew about that.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how often you could do, oh, he killed him, but he's not dead type of thing. That.
Yeah, because people are going to catch on. And
exactly.
Yeah.
A more realistic storyline would be like, yo, he got Joey Ryan in jail. He framed Joey Ryan and stuff, or something like that. Got him on house arrest. Imagine that. Like, Joey Ryan just, filming, I'm stuck in this house because of you, and the police won't let any of my women come visit me. Instead of, imagine Joey Ryan just ranting, hacking the BTE, just because he can't get his women to bang him. You know how much more believable that would be than him dying?
Yeah, that actually would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're kind of divulging back into a pseudo-territorial. I think that's why this period and then what happens at the MSG show for Ring of Honor and New Japan is really important. Between now and
I think the Jericho Cruise is also going to play a big picture into it.
Yeah,
Let's be real here. I feel like that's going to be another...
I kind of hope that goes on Fight and we can watch it on pay-per-view. Because if we can't go on the cruise...
I still want to go! I'm still mad I can't go.
I don't think you can bring Nicole on that, and I definitely can't
go. No, I've been trying for months!
But hopefully they broadcast that on freaking...
I think they are.
Oh, God. We need to pay for that and watch it, because that's going to be amazing.
Because they have the Sea of Honor tournament and stuff. There's a lot they could do, and that cruise is 7 days. or
Yeah,
like
so there's
5
gonna-
days and stuff. So you have a lot of storyline to go with that. And I keep going back to storyline because that's just something WWE lacks. They have the same amount of talent, but the storylines is what's making All In go over on WWE.
I mean, don't get me wrong, WWE is still the top dog, but, you know, All In proved that there's another option, and it's actually good, and it was done well, and if more people bought into it, I'm using that in quotes in like a literal sense, bought into it, it could go further and it could be legitimate competition. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen immediately. It's going to take time. It's going to take money. It's going to take resources. But it's something there. There is something. Even wrestlers from WWE were praising All In. Daniel Bryan said it was fucking great.
Yeah. I think, like, if you have the presidents from ROH, New Japan, Lucha Underground, Impact, and NWA meet together as, like, a wrestling council, they can continue bringing this under the head of Bullet Club.
All right. Yeah, no. I'm not saying under Bullet Club because not everything in wrestling should be about Bullet Club because that was the problem with the NWO. But
NWO
I think
controlled
that
an entire company.
No, that's true. I agree with that.
And
I'm just saying that I agree with the first part where all these companies should come together and reestablish the territories.
Yes.
And then they all have access to, I don't know, maybe a TV spot if like some areas don't really get like these internet areas, or they should start investing in, you know, putting their content on Hulu or something like that, or, you know, really putting themselves out there more so they'll get more eyes on mainstream audiences like WWE does.
I think, though, that All In, because this happened because of Cody Rhodes and the Jacksons.
No, I know that. I'm not saying that Bullet Club didn't have a major role into it. I just, how long can you really put it into, you know, guys that are in almost their 40s?
Who's in their 40s?
I said almost in their 40s.
What are you talking about?
How old is Cody Rhodes?
31.
They're all three of them are around 31-ish?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, look it up.
Okay, I got it.
They're all pretty young.
All right, hold on. I'm looking it up.
Cody started in WWE at 23.
Cody, I can understand being younger, but
So are the Jacksons.
Let me look.
So this can go on for a while until, you know, they have something more established. But I feel like under the guise of the Young Bucks and Cody, this could lead wrestling into a new renaissance.
I agree that it will lead to another renaissance. I agree that Bullet Club should be in every promotion.
Yes.
At this point.
And
that's including WWE.
And I feel like they should be prominent.
Cody Rhodes is 33, by the way.
33? All right. So he's not in his 40s.
I don't know. It's getting there.
Matt Jackson's 33. Nick Jackson's 29.
Man, I thought they were twins exactly, but man.
No. They're all pretty young.
Yeah.
Like, they can head this for at least another 5-6 years until something's more established. But I feel like until that's really striving, I feel like they should take a head with these business deals and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones responsible for it. Not New Japan, not Ring of Honor, not Lucha Underground, not NWA.
It was those three. And they kind of brought in all those guys. Yeah, so I agree. I don't know if they should establish something other than Bullet Club, only because Bullet Club itself is a wrestling gimmick. It's not so much a business, like a HUD of, like,
but isn't it now? Isn't it? They have their own Hot Topic deal. Bullet Club has a Hot Topic deal. Not New Japan. Bullet Club has a deal with Pop Vinyl. Not New Japan, not Ring of Honor. Bullet Club had the All In where they were able to get 10,000 seats. Not New Japan, not Ring of Honor.
I mean,
the facts are there.
No, I understand that. I'm having a hard time really getting myself behind Bullet Club being like its own company, so to speak.
It has its own YouTube thing too, which gets more hits than a lot of other wrestling stuff. Their shows, their subscribers.
I'm not saying that Bullet Club can't do it. I'm just saying I'm having a hard time picturing Bullet Club as a corporate entity that can corral all these wrestling companies to start basically creating a...
I wouldn't call it like corralling. I'd consider it more contract negotiation.
So what exactly are you saying? Are you saying that Bullet Club is more of a contract negotiator, like a union? Is that what you're... Because I don't see Bullet Club being that either.
I don't see it being... I see it being its own territory. It's not a gimmick anymore, and I don't think you can even call it a gimmick. I would call it a group. Something like The Click. Something like BSK with The Undertaker. It's its own group. It's not even a you can't even call it a faction. It's like how the Four Horsemen ran NWA and WCW. It's how The Click run WWF. It's its own thing. That's how big this Bullet Club has gotten. And I don't know how many people really realize how much power Bullet Club really has.
All right, I see your point. I
I think they have the capabilities of being able to run their own shows now. They can run their own shows just fine. You know.
Yeah, okay. I can see your point. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still...
Maybe not now, but like in a couple... Like, in the next year or two, I feel like Bullet Club's only going to go stronger.
Yeah, okay. I'm still thinking, like, NWO and, like, all the problems NWO had and, like, personifying that onto Bullet Club, and that's my fear with...
But that's your problem. Bullet Club is completely separate from NWO. They're completely different.
I understand that they're different, but there's also so much similarity, and that's part of the problem.
Not as much as you think.
Every main person from Bullet Club got over.
Yeah, Bullet Club helped them get over, though. That's the thing. They got over because of Bullet Club, because of the name Bullet Club. NWO was over because of the stars that were currently in it. You had Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash start the group. Then they recruited X-Pac. Six at the 1-2-3 Kid. He was already over in WWE. You brought in the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. You brought in Randy Macho Man Savage. You brought in Virgil. You brought in Dusty Rhodes. Those are the early years. Bullet Club got over as a whole, and then it helps bring it... No one cared who Hangman Page was before he joined Bullet Club. And then he helped... Not only did he grow because of the name, but he helped grow the name itself.
All right.
NWO was very selfish.
Yeah,
I can't see Bullet Club being that selfish.
Okay, yeah.
If they were, all of the Bullet Club members would have went over. All of them would have won championships. They would be controlling New Japan right now.
All right, I see your point. All right. I'm still going to have those doubts, but I can see where your points are coming into effect. And
I can understand your doubts, though, because of how powerful they are. You know, look at a lot of... If you look at them, the Click didn't end well with WWE. You know...
Except for one of the main guys is now running the company, essentially.
Yeah, but that was all on him.
And they're slowly bringing back Click members into the group.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah, and then you got the NWO, which is pretty bad. You know, there was a lot of bad booking decisions. You don't hear any of that with Bullet Club, like influencing booking decisions or anything like that.
No. And, I mean, you can say, okay, Bullet Club had a hand in that, but it was their show that they booked, so of course they had a hand in booking.
And then even if you look at it, they won 4 matches that they had. They won the 6-man tag, the NWA Championship, Omega.
Yeah, and the hardcore match.
Yeah. They lost Marty Scurll, which, you know, people were... And Stephen Amell. And Stephen Amell was their money pick. Let's be real here. Everyone thought Stephen Amell was going to win. He didn't. So let's be... 4 out of 2, they won slightly more than half of their matches. You know. But they brought in guys who would have never gotten the exposure.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck was Bandito?
Fair enough. But they knew Rey Mysterio. And they knew Cody.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio was the clincher. Rey Mysterio's more well known than Cody.
Yeah, but I would assume that people... Because if we're going to tell me that people who've never watched wrestling were going to order All In, I think you're a little crazy on that. But guys, let's say WWE guys, they know who Cody is. Yeah. They liked Cody. They hated Stardust, but they liked Cody.
Yeah, but casuals know Rey Mysterio.
That's true.
Not even just casuals. Regular people on the street know Rey Mysterio. That's the clincher.
That was true. That's true.
You know, they know Stephen Amell. They know Arrow. They've heard of the show. Like, oh, I've heard of that show. The guy who's maining it is wrestling. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what we told our friends, and that's how we all convinced them to watch it. So yeah.
I'm just saying, Bullet Club is going to gain a lot more power in the near future, and All In is the start of it.
Yeah, and I think another beginning part is going to be at the end of the year when this MSG show kicks off.
Yeah, the end of the season.
Yeah, because that's going to be an interesting point, and then that's going to kick off a whole new season of wrestling across the board. And if something were to not interfere with, WWE, they could have another successful show. And
the only thing is they're directly competing with WWE that night. That's going to be the clincher. That's going to see how they do. Because it's Ring of Honor and at New Japan in Madison Square Garden versus NXT TakeOver in Barclays.
Jesus, man.
That's the thing. They're going head to head. Now, I don't know about you, but again, it's all going to come down to storylines. NXT has great storylines right now. It is consistently good storylines.
G1, I mean, whatever Kenny Omega, if Kenny Omega's on it, I mean, that's another really good story right there.
Yeah, but if you have Tommaso versus Gargano on it again. That's
true.
Again, it's going to come to that. That's going to be the first time where they're directly competing with WWE.
This is going to be an interesting one, that's for sure.
But I'm putting it a lot on Bullet Club. I'm going to be completely honest. If Bullet Club plays it smart, they play it strong, and they feature Bullet Club prominently, I think it'll be a good show. Because I feel like everyone's going to come to see Bullet Club.
Yeah, I agree with that. Is there any other things we need to talk about for All In? Well, the official count for how many people went in, they over-projected.
Yeah.
It was more than 10,000, so suck it, Dave
Under-projected, yeah.
Under-projected.
11,000?
11,235, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to check again.
But they sold out the arena.
No, they sold out.
Imagine if they had
They oversold the arena.
Imagine if they got more seats.
Imagine if they got Brooklyn. That sells 15. My God. I love this so much.
No, I'm right there with you.
And then I guess the last thing we could talk about before we wrap up is if they do decide an All In 2, do you have any matches in mind of what they could do? I have a couple in mind already.
You bring up yours first, because I have to think about this.
So I'm expecting Stephen Amell to be back on All In, and this time it's going to be for a championship. I don't know why. I can project that. I have a feeling that he did an amazing job.
Yes.
I can imagine between now and the next time they do an All-In show, let's say for shits and giggles, it's like in a year. I could see him going on Ring of Honor television or PWG shows and, fighting for some sort, or like fighting and wrestling in those things, and then potentially getting, I'm not saying like a world championship, but like.
I got one better.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Stephen Amell versus Neville.
Oh, yes. But at that time, he'll be like Ring of Honor, either world champion or the TV champ.
Exactly. But so I think it would have to be Neville.
Yeah, it would have to absolutely be Neville. I 100% agree.
Like, I carried your ass back in WWE.
You can't be this good having
I'm gonna carry your ass into a stretcher.
Oh, man. I would love that. I have another match in mind. I have Cody Rhodes versus Flip Gordon for the NWA World Championship.
I agree. I feel like that has to happen. Imagine that. Like, that's a storyline of itself. Yo, Flip, I don't want you on my show. You're kind of like talking to my wife. I don't think you're...
Well, that's why Flip is mad. He's pissed off that he never got picked to be on his show. Then he pretends to be friends with Cody's wife, Brandy, betrays her, and that's why Cody Rhodes is pissed at him, and then they fight for the belt.
Exactly.
Boom. That's the story right there.
Exactly. Again, it's a realistic story. Yo, I'm mad that I wasn't booked for your show. Again, realistic storylines that they could do that's better than like, hey, I won a championship. I won a championship tournament. I get to go for your belt. I'd be mad if I wasn't booked. Definitely, though, I agree. Flip Gordon versus Cody Rhodes, NWA Championship.
I think if they don't do it between the MSG show, the next Wrestle Kingdom, or the next Dominion, that at All In 2, it has to be in the main event, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, title for title. It has to. If they don't do it at any of those shows,
No, the thing
and if they
is,
hold on to the, and if let's say they hold on to the belts for like over a year and they come back to All In again, they have to do All In again, title versus title.
I'm going to do you one better.
Somehow you always do. Go on.
They both have to drop the belt first off.
Okay.
Because Jericho has to lose the belt, preferably to Naito. You know, he gets the rematch and stuff. He hasn't defended it. He hasn't wrestled with it and stuff. He's pulling a Brock Lesnar. I feel like he should drop the belt soon. I think he should cost Kenny the match at
Wrestle Kingdom?
13 against Tanahashi.
And then cost him his rematch at Dominion or something like that.
No. Ring of Honor G1 Supercard. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. Retirement match.
Ooh. How come you always keep fucking doing this, man? You always make matches that are so good. Man.
Or loser leaves the Indies match. I don't know. It has to go to that. But it'll have to be an I Quit match.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But and Jericho's winding down. Imagine Jericho putting that rub as Kenny Omega being the one to retire Chris Jericho.
Oh, boy. He'd be so ready for WWE. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there another match that I'm thinking of? I mean, you can just put like a fun gimmicky match and put Joey Ryan and Hangman Page.
That's going to be a big one. I would like Skrull versus Okada in a rematch. I don't know if...
Yes, I want that to be properly timed out. I don't want that bullshit that happened at this one.
Skrull needs to win the never openweight championship.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be the best way to do it. He wins the belt, be like, hey, Okada, I'm challenging you. You know, and I'm putting the belt on the line. And then, oh, man, let's see. I would have liked to have seen Tanahashi on the show.
Yeah, but I think they only can get a handful of New Japan guys, and I think they weren't going to give up their John Cena of New Japan.
But they gave up Omega and Okada, which is pretty much...
Well, they gave up their American audience, which technically is part of Bullet Club, so they had to have Kenny free.
And Okada
is like...
Yeah, Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, so... yeah, I could see that. I want to see Naito at one of these things. What I really want to see happen, and if they're kind of Bullet Club kind of evolving into that, that's fine. But they're also still a gimmick. I would like to really see real faction warfare, and I think being governables of Japan would be really good. Los Ingobernables de Japón. I think
God didn't interfere. Guerrillas of Destiny.
Yeah, they didn't, and I
would have loved to see them trash the show.
Yeah, I know. That would have been... Oh, man, that would have been... I would have liked it at that post thing that they did, which was really good.
Or, what I would have liked to see is them invade StarCast.
Yeah, that would have been cool, too.
I feel like they could do that next one, too. Like, do StarCast and, like, have an unsanctioned thing, similar to how Seth Rollins invaded NXT and stuff.
It should be the Guerrillas, which should be all three of them.
Yeah, Haku and stuff. Versus my personal thing... Well,
I think it should be the Bucks, and it should be Kota Ibushi. I think Kota Ibushi is like in that dancing area of joining Bullet Club.
Yeah.
It's like almost there. And it should be Guerrillas of Destiny versus Golden Elite.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's pretty much everyone on the.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else. I mean, the real test is between now and. At the MSG show. Yes. And then another huge thing that's going to happen in 2019 is WWE's move to Fox.
Yes.
And then at that point, we'll see what really happens in 2019.
Not going to lie, it's not even that. The big move is going to be Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
That MSG show, just for the fact that they are...
Another wrestling company took over WWE's territory. That's a huge slap in the face.
Not only is it taking over its territory, it's taking over its territory on one of the biggest nights in WWE this calendar year. The Saturday before WrestleMania. One of the biggest nights.
Is it? I thought it was at the end of the year.
Ring of Honor?
Oh no, for MSG.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The MSG shows is literally
Oh yeah,
going
that's
head to
that's
head
right,
against.
That's right. And yeah, all right. But yeah, that's basically
That's
it.
fighting, yeah. I think though Bullet Club. I don't know. I can't call them a group, or a faction, a gimmick.
Yeah, and
It's a way of life at this point.
Yeah, Bullet Club is in that weird space now where you can't really identify them anymore because you can't call them, what they were. They're not a gimmick anymore. They're not a faction. Not really. They are, but they're not. They're not just a YouTube channel because they're not.
They're like a company.
Yeah, they're
in everything but
they're
the
like
word.
a wrestling company, but without the bullshit.
Yeah,
honestly, it's scary to really think about that because
you didn't really think about it until I brought this stuff up, right?
No, not until right now. That's a really scary thing. Like putting them as a more amorphous blob than putting them as what they're trying to be right now is a better description.
And they're not even trying to be a company.
No, they're not.
That's the scary part. But they're gaining traction as something similar to it.
That's really the best way to describe it. That's I think what the problem was, that describing them as a company or just a promotion doesn't perfectly describe what Bullet Club is. But being all of it and none of it at the same time is basically the best thing that you could describe it as.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary, man. It's really scary.
I told you, this Bullet Club in the next year or two, that's going to be the competition for WWE, is Bullet Club. And that's the scary thought, because they haven't had something like this since NWO. And this is nothing like NWO.
No, this is... It could honestly get bigger. We're looking at it from a very small scope because they just sold out an arena the size of like a Monday Night Raw show. Like we even talked about that last week. And we thought that if it goes okay, then they're fine. But if it goes to way better to what we're describing right now,
they have the potential. And the thing is with... One last point I want to make. We compare this to how WWE versus NWO.
And that's the wrong way of describing it.
No, it's not.
It's
because Bullet Club is in the position of WWE during that war.
Oh yeah, they are. That's even a scarier thought, man.
NWO had everything. They had the ratings. They had the star power.
They had unlimited money with Ted Turner. Yeah, wow, that's a really scary
Bullet
thought.
Club is in that same position as WWE was back in the 90s.
That's a really scary thought.
But imagine this. They only did this in 5 years. They've only been around 5 years. And look how much they've accomplished. Look how much they've grown in just 5 years.
Yeah.
And their progress is continuing exponentially at a very fast rate.
Yeah. Like, how would you even conceive of stopping it unless something were to happen to every member of Bullet Club? That's a really scary thing to think about.
And even with WWE poaching talent, they are continuously replacing their members and growing it.
Yeah.
Like if they lose the Young Bucks, I could see Bullet Club getting Briscoes.
Well, yes, but there's a caveat to that, and I don't think that this is the proper podcast to talk about that.
Yeah, but like that's not.
No, but I could see them picking like a really good tag team, a really good one.
Yeah.
And putting them in that slot. Like they could maybe not move the Gorillas of Destiny into that spot.
No, Gorillas of Destiny's done with the Bullet Club. But like you can, there are ways of them expanding. And the Bullet Club is so big now that they get over every member.
Yeah. And over doesn't mean that they get the belts. Over means that the crowd loves them no matter what. They get a reaction of some sort.
Yes.
So
that's how big Bullet Club has gotten.
Yeah, that's a scary thought, man. That's a real scary thought. That's a very fringe thought, and I don't agree or disagree with it, but man, that's a really scary thought. So I think the next several months are going to be interesting. I think 2019 is probably going to be the best year of wrestling we're going to have in a very long time, and I'm pretty damn excited about it. Alrighty then. Nothing else to say about that.
All right. Let us know what you guys think. Until next time, Audio Marks. Thank you, everyone, for staying tuned to our podcast. Special shout out to the Sachem Public Library for the continued use of their equipment and space. Continue supporting us by rating and subscribing through Patreon, Audio Boom, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play Music, and Apple Podcasts at Marks for Life Podcast. And now, check out our YouTube channel, Marks for Life, for our podcast playlist and other content. Please follow us on our social media on Twitter at Marks for Life Pod, Instagram at Marks for Life Podcast, our Tumblr page, Marks for Life Podcast, and our Facebook page, Marks for Life Podcast. And email us at marksforlifepodcast@gmail.com for any questions, comments, or feedback. Until next time, Audio Marks.